Okay, so real quick, let's start fixing these areas that are just glaring and horrible. The first thing we could do is we could change this and scale it up so that it looks like this and matches it. But I actually want to change this kind of brick right here along the windows, and I think we can pull that off. So why don't we go ahead and select, let's select all of these right here in the middle and these ledges right here. And let's go ahead and change the color and style of brick. So I'm going to right click, assign new material. We're going to call this, first let's go ahead and select Maya, Lambert, and then we will go ahead and call it. And notice instead of being in the Hypershade right now, I'm going to try to do everything all over here in the attribute editor. Just to show you there's other ways to do this, we'll call this white brick. Enter, we'll go over here to color, select that. We will select a file, and then we'll select that file. Let's see here, what color bricks do we have? Do we have any white brick here? We do have this brick. It's kind of ugly. It might work though. Let's keep looking here, see what we've got. You know what? Let's go with that old brick right here. Let's try this. It might not work, but hey, let's give it a try. Let's give it a shot. Hit open. And once again, we have some problems here, so we're going to select all these and put them on a planar projection, UV planar. Okay, and I definitely think we're going to want to scale that up a little bit, or down rather. Ooh, it's not a scalable texture. That's something we can fix using Photoshop, but for right now, we'll just leave it like this. And if that becomes a problem for us in the future, we can go ahead and for sure and fix that in Photoshop. Okay. These ledges will definitely need some work. Let's go down here though and see if we can't change this using a different technique. Looking over here, it's actually very interesting that this messed up. It shouldn't have had we modeled everything correctly. However, we're gonna make mistakes when modeling. That's totally okay, and it gives us the opportunity to kind of show you some techniques and tricks you might use to see if you can't fix your model. So I know for sure when I was modeling this, my extrude had about 30 extrudes every time I hit it, and that's why there are tons of subdivisions here. So we may have to fix that later, but let's go ahead and click on this. I have a feeling, so I'm in face mode, I have a feeling if I hit delete here, I may find, okay, so it looks like I just had a couple of extra. Just gonna go ahead and delete these, and let's see if we can't fix them real quick using that technique we learned. So I'm going to go into vertice mode. I'm going to select these vertices here, just like this. And I'm going to go up to mesh and fill hole. Okay, so what we have is our mesh should be hooked up correctly now, but let's see. Let's go ahead and apply that texture to these. So I'll go to face and I'll select that face. And we will go into our Hypershade, so Windows, Rendering Editors, Hypershade. I'm going to right click and assign material to selection. Then we'll go UV, Planar. And it looks like we might have to scale up here. So let's go ahead and just scale that way up. And it's kind of a pain in the butt. That's okay. We could go in here and scale it there. We're just trying to match it. So not quite. Looks like we're going to have to scale it back this way a little bit. Okay, maybe a little more. We're just going to try to roughly match the rest of this, if at all possible. Okay, that's looking pretty close there. And I don't think people are going to notice, especially if we add like a white brick texture here. Why don't we go ahead and do that? We'll go ahead and right click, assign existing material, and we'll go with the white brick that we created right there. Okay, doesn't look like that worked. Assign existing material, white brick. Don't know what's going on there. I'm going to click that and hit delete, and then right click, assign existing material, white brick. There we go. Okay, okay, not quite perfect, but it's looking interesting. Okay, so we're back at it. We got some more things to fix. Hopefully by now you're starting to see that even those of us who are fairly experienced with 3D modeling and texturing, we still have issues sometimes, but it's okay. It's okay to have things to fix, because us going through all these fixes together will give you confidence that you don't give up when things go wrong. Hopefully this gives you confidence in your own work that as we go through this process, selecting faces here, as we go through this process, you'll get to see me do it over and over. You'll get to hopefully do it over and over. And that repetition is actually going to create long-term memory for you. And that's what my goal is, that you have long-term memory of how to do these processes. Okay, so I've selected all these faces right here. You know what I'm going to do. Go up to UV, and I'm going to go up to planar. And you can see there that I really need to scale them up, like a ton. But see, I'd have to zoom out just to keep these handles with me. So where do you think I'm going to go? Some of you guessed it, Windows, Modeling Editors, and UV Editor. Like I said, you will be using the UV Editor and the Hypershade quite a bit during this process. So I'm going to zoom myself back in here so I can see what I'm doing, and I can match these two brick patterns here. Go into the UV Editor, and I'm going to hit R for scale, and then I can just see how far I need to scale it. Just like that. I told you you'd like the UV Editor. It may seem intimidating at first, but then you start to see how it can really help you in your workflow. So that looks pretty good to me. We can always go back and change it if it doesn't look just perfect. Let's move on to the next one. In the next video, we're going to fix a couple more things and try to finish out this building's texturing.